Insanity and killing are themes that are depicted together in almost every horror movie throughout history. Everything from Psycho, one of the very first true horror movies ever produced, to some of the most recent movies present killing and insanity as synonymous with one another. Frequently, however, the psychological disorders that precipitate this insanity are not realistic, providing a very unreal psychological profile of each character. The movie Silence of the Lambs is a perfect example of this, using insanity only to add an edge to each of its murders. Silence of the Lambs is a psychological thriller and horror movie that tells the story of Clarice Starling, a young FBI agent still in training. Clarice is assigned to save Catherine Martin from psychopathic serial killer Buffalo Bill. In order to develop a proper psychological profile of Bill and to find him more quickly, Clarice uses the help of Hannibal Lecter, another psychopath who treated Bill in the past. Lecter feeds Clarice small but necessary clues which eventually lead her to Belvedere, Ohio, where Buffalo Bill, whose real name is James Gum, is holding Catherine Martin, preparing to skin her and sew together a woman's suit which we will use to fulfill his transgender desires. Upon entering the house, Clarice determines that the man who let her in is Buffalo Bill after seeing a moth of the same species as that found in the mouth of Frederica Bimmel, another of Bill's victims. After a brief chase through the house, Clarice shoots and kills Bill, rescuing Catherine Martin in the process. Both Hannibal Lecter and Buffalo Bill are depicted as classic psychopathic serial killers, and while they do conform to the criteria of an individual with antisocial personality disorder, they show signs which would negate this. Hannibal Lecter, for one, shows many symptoms of antisocial personality disorder. His clear inability to conform to social norms, which is ultimately why he was arrested, is a textbook sign of antisocial personality disorder. Also, prior to Clarice's meeting Hannibal, she is told by one of Hannibal's psychiatrists that after having his mask taken off for an EKG, he ate the face of a nurse. Despite this traumatic experience, Hannibal's heart rate never got above 85 beats per minute. While this instance would be impossible in real life, it shows the lack of empathy that Hannibal feels for his victims and his ignorance of the suffering of others, fulfilling two more common criteria in the DSM's list of antisocial personality disorder symptoms. Finally, Hannibal's extremely cocky and self-opinionated attitude are classic traits of an individual with personality disorder. Hannibal makes predictions about Clarice, acting as if he has a profound knowledge of Clarice's personal life when in reality, he does not. Hannibal does not conform to an individual with antisocial personality disorder in that he does not have trouble holding a stable lifestyle. He holds a steady job as an elite psychiatrist, even using the connections he has to fulfill his face-eating habits. Buffalo Bill is somewhat more poorly profiled than Hannibal Lecter. Upon first look, Bill appears to suffer from gender dysphoria only. However, nowhere in the diagnostic criteria for gender dysphoria is violence mentioned. Also, Buffalo Bill clearly maintains a high level of self-control and patience, which is the reason that he is so successful in killing. He avoids killing his victims on the spot and is careful to dump their bodies without leaving any unplanted evidence. In reality, people with antisocial personality disorder tend to be extremely reckless and irresponsible, usually making them sloppy in their crimes and therefore easy to catch. Bill does show the manipulation and deceit that is an all too common feature of antisocial personality disorder. This can be seen in his use of lies and good acting to lure Catherine into the van. While for the most part accurate, the profiles of the characters in Silence of the Lambs were developed primarily for entertainment. Upon close examination, an individual with a basic knowledge of psychology would easily be able to detect small errors and determine that Silence of the Lambs is a purely fictional movie.